Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are on this fine planet. I am Dave Sobel. I am Senior Director of Community here at SolarWinds MSP, and I am happy to be your host today for this SolarWinds MSP product roadmap discussion. We're really looking forward to diving into some of that real meat of where we're going as an organization and give you insights into the product. Before we do that, I want to give a couple of housekeeping announcements so you know where we stand. Everyone on the call here is on mute. That way we can make sure everyone gets nice, clean audio and is able to hear. The session will be recorded, and we will make that recording available to all participants afterwards. You can go back and listen to a piece again or share it internally in your organization if that's what you so choose. If you've got a question over the course of the presentation, we really do want to make sure that we get it answered. Go ahead and put that into the Q&A section of the GoToWebinar, and myself or the team here will be answering those in real time. And the ones that need to get Greg's attention, we will be bringing it to him during the course of the presentation. So we will make sure that all those questions get answered. And so, without further ado, let's introduce the star of today's show. The man with the answers. I'd like to introduce our VP of Product Management, the man who is overseeing all of the strategy and direction and the product managers that work on each of the individual products, Mr. Greg Lissy. Greg, take it away.
Wow, thanks, Dave. I appreciate the introduction, and I wanted to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today. As Greg said, I'm Greg Lissy. Excuse me, as Dave said, I'm Greg Lissy, Vice President of Product Management for SolarWinds MSP. Really excited to be with you today to showcase the SolarWinds MSP product portfolio and to share some direction about our future plans. You know, we had an opportunity to come together with a number of our partners at Empower events late in the last year, and so the marketing team said afterwards, "Hey, Greg, would you be willing to do a webinar and showcase some of the same content for customers and partners who were not able to attend the show?" And so really what the focus of today is I'm going to go over some of the content that I presented at Empower. But in the event that you were at Empower, I do have some new stuff. So I'm going to really double click down into the roadmap across a broader swath of the portfolio. So I kind of expanded from kind of one product roadmap slide into about 6 or 7. And we'll get into a little bit more detail on each of the different product lines. So it's a lot of stuff to cover today, but hopefully it's rich in content and provides you with some good direction on where we're headed. So when we look at the overall portfolio for SolarWinds MSP, of course we have MSP tools for manual service delivery. So this would include things like, you know, ticketing and remote access, basically things that you would need to do to engage with sort of a break-fix type of scenario. Then we also have a portfolio around remote monitoring and management delivered both through the cloud and on-prem for you to have efficient and automated service delivery. And now this is for your managed customers, your managed services, providing monitoring and management, automation reporting, integrated remote control, and also other integrations with PSA. We offer a number of different integrated tools here as well: backup, antivirus patch, web protection, and a new mail protection offering, which I'll talk about in a little bit later. So you have the coverage for the break fix type of scenarios. You have the coverage for your managed services, the people that you have on contract. And as a product leader, one of the things that I'm so excited about, and one of the things that really led me to this opportunity at SolarWinds MSP in the last summer when I started, is the access that we have to enterprise IT technology from SolarWinds. This is stuff that we are selling through, to IT pros, and we have the opportunity to bring some of these innovations, some of this technology to you, our MSP customers. And we have one example of this that I'll talk about a little bit later called NetPath, and it's really the start of how we're going to be sharing technologies across the portfolio with SolarWinds. It's really the power of having SolarWinds MSP access to a lot of these technologies. So as a product leader, I'm very excited about what we're doing with NetPath. I'm really excited about continuing to work closely with my partners in the organization. I just came off of a joint call with all the product management and product marketing leaders inside of SolarWinds, and we're really fired up about the capabilities that we have at our disposal in order to help bring you. Now, with this wide portfolio, we are gaining a lot of momentum in the market. We are the platform of choice for over 20 worldwide, and we're really excited about some recognition that received. We have a couple of these Channel Pro Readers' Choice Awards and an IT Europa Excellence Award for our backup and recovery solution. And one of the things I like to highlight about these awards is that they are shared awards. Because of the nature of the fact that they're Reader's Choice, they're really our awards. And they're a testament to you and your loyalty to us. And it's also a testament to the fact that this is a two-way street. We want to share with you some of the things that we're working on in our roadmap, and hopefully you see some of the things that we are working on are related to your feedback and your engagement with us, because we understand that you run your business on this software. We want to make it as efficient and as possible for you to do so. So we're going to talk later about the opportunities to provide us with feedback and so forth. But I want to thank you for your contributions to these Reader's Choice Awards and for your continued partnership and feedback as we strive to make our offerings better and better every quarter, every year. So let me take a quick step back and talk a little bit about some of the trends that we see in the market and the opportunities that we want to seize upon in relation to these trends. So the first is related to the artificial intelligence and machine learning, and we have an advantage at SolarWinds MSP that we have the ability to collect intelligence from millions of different endpoints and to use this collective intelligence to help anticipate issues before they occur. So one of the themes and areas that we're looking at is how can we harness this collective intelligence and provide you with more predictive analytics so that you can see around the corners, that you can anticipate issues. I mean, the metaphor I like to use is, I have a house and I have a car. I don't wait to replace the roof until the roof is leaking. I don't take the car into the shop only when the car is broken. I do preventive maintenance, and I look ahead and I say, well, at this certain point, this many years, you probably need a new roof. And because we've seen many houses fail. At this point, you need to take the car in and do some do some preventive maintenance on the car, because at 90,000 miles or what have you, these are the type of things that typically break. This is the type of predictive analytics that we want to imbue into the platform. And so it's an area of additional investment that we're going to be making in the coming years. It is enormous what's going on in the market today around security, privacy, and compliance. And it is critical that managed service providers have a layered security service approach. And this is essential to fuel growth. And so what we're introducing and will continue to introduce is a number of different tools to combat a variety of different threat vectors, such as malware and ransomware. A couple of examples that we have in market right now are backup for documents that really help prevent some of the ransomware style attacks, and also a new email antivirus, anti-spam offering. We bought a company late last year called Spam Experts, and I'll talk a little bit more about their threat detection system that we have that we're leveraging for the new Mail Assure offering for mail antivirus. So this layered approach is something that's very critical, and we're going to continue to bring innovation around the security pillar. We actually have broken out a group of product managers on my team. They're just focused on security offerings, making the existing offerings that we have better, and also looking for ways that we can continue to expand and provide you with more and more tools that can help you expand and beef up your managed security services practice. Finally, another key trend, of course, is the proliferation of cloud services, and this is really the demands of users needing access to data, really from a variety of different devices, a variety of different times, and many different locations. And so, as a managed service provider, it's more complex than it's ever been. And there's also a shift here in terms of less about the centricity of the device into the managed services and more about the centricity of the user. So, for example, we got a lot of feedback around the use of Office 365 or other cloud services. Regardless of what the cloud service is, managed service providers, as you need to be thinking about not just the device health, but now the health of the user's access to these cloud services. And so one of the things that we're going to introduce, and I'll talk about a little bit later, is NetPath, and integrating NetPath in our remote monitoring and management dashboard for both cloud and on-prem, with that ability to trace the path of the user to Office 365. I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but I was at Microsoft when we launched Office 365, and before it was called Business Productivity Online Suite, or BPOS. And so for any of you that were around back in the industry back in that time frame, you saw this shift happening. And really, it's just been amazing over the last 8 to 10 years to think about how these cloud services have proliferated. And we're really feeling that we're really on the cutting edge here with NetPath in terms of providing this capability for you. And I'll talk a little bit more about some things that we're doing on cloud-to-cloud backup as well. So with that, I do want to talk about this platform coming together as one platform for business growth, for your growth and success. So bringing together capabilities on remote monitoring and management, PSA, I've talked about security, and also tools like remote control, antivirus for mail, and backup. So all of these are part of the portfolio. I'm going to touch on each of these a little bit today, but I wanted to also take an opportunity to give some pretty cool stats. So we appreciate your partnership, your loyalty to us, and we want to keep you loyal. And one of the things I want to demonstrate is, you're working with a pretty solid partner in SolarWinds MSP. We have over 20,000 MSPs and IT pros that use our RMM solutions, and there are over 100,000 PSA alerts sent every day from these solutions. In terms of security, the endpoints that have our web protection offering installed access close to 5 billion URLs each month, and about 17% of these are identified as high risk or suspicious. Our risk intelligence offering, which this goes out and calculates the average data breach risk across these endpoints, and the average here is close to $35,000 per device. So when you're talking to your customers and about the risk, how we can mitigate risk, how you can help them mitigate risk, this is a really powerful tool to identify the endpoints where they need to have better protection, and to have you have an opportunity to use SolarWinds MSP tech in order to protect those endpoints for your end customers. There are an average of 1,250 remote control sessions initiated every hour using MSP Anywhere. And we are making some great enhancements to the admin console and to the overall usability of MSPA, which I'll highlight a little bit later. I mentioned SolarWinds Mail Assure. This is our new mail anti-spam threat detection system that we have in market now. This is a really powerful tool that we acquired from when we acquired the company Spam Experts late last year. And this threat detection system is really powerful. It has input from over 2 million secure domains in 85 countries. And so using SolarWinds Mail Assure really helps you mitigate and eliminate a lot of the spam that comes into your customers. And then finally, our backup tool, SolarWinds Backup. 36,000 terabytes of data backed up across 250,000 devices using this tool. This is a really strong tool focused on accuracy and efficiency, and I'll highlight a few things that we're doing with SolarWinds Backup in a little while. So anyway, I just wanted to share, this is the platform that we have. These are some great statistics, and so in terms of continuing to partner with us and trust us, we appreciate it. You're working with a leader in the space, and we're gonna do great together. One of the things about bringing these elements together into a single platform is that the team is very focused on having a common look and feel, a common user interface, and making it easy to navigate between tools. And so I just wanted to share one of the things that we're doing here around user interface. And so this is just an example that's centered around our Cloud RMM offering. You're going to see a platform bar on the upper banner, some left nav tools integrated down the left side to make it easier to navigate to common tasks and so forth. And then we're also introducing a switcher up in the upper right, where you can go up there and quickly navigate to some of the other applications. And then also it's an opportunity to try things that maybe you haven't tried our Mail Assure offering, or you haven't tried the Risk Intelligence offering, and it's an opportunity for you there to go in and quickly start a trial. But we've made some good progress on the integration, right? We have a backup integrated into the RMM platforms, and we have some pretty deep integration between RMM and our MSP Manager tool. And we're going to continue to do that. You'll see the NetPath tool that will come out here very, very shortly at the end of Q1. You'll see that integration into the dashboard as well for both RMM and N-central. And so this common look and feel is really important to help with your efficiency, allow you to easily switch from tool to tool, and really to explore capabilities that you might be interested in a very, very efficient and quick way to do so. Now, I talked earlier in market trends about security, privacy, and compliance, and I wanted to hover for a second on SolarWinds' commitment to GDPR. GDPR readiness is essentially critical for the governance of personal data for EU citizens, with this emphasis on data security and privacy. And while the deadline for GDPR is May 25th, 2018, we have literally been working on this since January of last year. And so these readiness efforts include things like drafting policy updates, designing process changes, defining new data, privacy, security standards, and so forth. We've engaged a consulting firm that's actually assessing how we're doing, and we are getting remediation guidance back from them, and we're implementing that. We have functional leaders that are in place across all the portfolio of MSP products to implement these new GDPR requirements. And I wanted to highlight the fact that we have a resource center. It's in the lower right of the screen. So SolarWindsMSP.com, WAC resources, WAC GDPR. So a lot of the information that we have for you is centered in that resource center. And again, it is just a huge focus. We have all the way up to our CIO, and she and her team are doing a fantastic job across the portfolio. We're ready, and we're very serious about GDPR, and you can be very confident with us. So where are we at right now? I mean, I'd said we started back in the beginning of last year around defining and assessing and planning, and then moving into the build phase. And then now we're really doing validation and operational and training stuff. So bottom line is this compliance deadline is coming up here in May. We've been working on this for over a year, and we have a strong commitment to this. You can feel very confident that we'll be ready to meet this compliance deadline, and partnering with us is going to be great in terms of the GDPR readiness. Okay, now for the good stuff. So one of the key things here in terms of sharing the details of the roadmap is that we need to acknowledge that when we share the roadmap features here, we consider various features and functionality prior to any final generally available release. And so the comments given here in this webinar are not, nor should they be interpreted to be a commitment from SolarWinds MSP that it will deliver any specific feature, or if it delivers such feature, any time frame when that feature will be delivered. We are always trying to promote, improve, and enhance our products. All discussions herein are based upon product team current interests, product team current plans, and priorities are subject to change at any time. So with that, let me say that again, I want to reemphasize that
Well, sounds like we've lost Greg's audio there for a second, and while we get him back, I will go ahead and do the portion for him to go over the legal disclaimer here. What you're about to see is obviously a forward-thinking roadmap. SolarWinds considers some of these functionalities is things we're considering here. We're not making any specific promises today in terms of the timetable or when it's going to be delivered from a legal perspective, and wanted to make sure that you obviously know that for that positioning. We want to give you the best insight we've got right now, but obviously from a legal perspective, not going to have that particular piece. Let's talk a little bit to start on the backup side of things. So we're going to start giving you a little bit of insight into to where we're going with our backup product. First up in our development chain right now is we're working on continuing investments in accelerating the speed of the backups. We know one of the features of backup that's so incredibly valuable is the ability to deliver that in a really rapid way, and how efficient we are with bandwidth and with our Delta Changes technology. We're doing some additional investments here to shorten those backup windows even further. We know as backups continue to get bigger and bigger, this investment is going to be really important to help shorten those backup windows and allow you to take on even larger backup sets. Additionally, we're looking at ways of moving to much higher frequency backups, so that you'll be able to take backups of your system every 2 hours, as opposed to the timetables that we're doing right now. And our goal is to have the best RPO in the industry. Again, we're focused entirely on a non-appliance based approach to this, and that's going to be really allowing you to deploy in the most flexible way possible. Beyond that, we're now looking at investments in Office 365 backups, so that the ability for you to be able to back up your mailboxes in Office 365. We've been hearing loud and clear from the community and from you as our user base how important it is to be able to back up customers' data no matter where it lives. And with the investments that customers and vendors have made in cloud infrastructures, we know how important Office 365 is. So we'll be focusing on being able to do backups of both the mailboxes and the public folders, being able to do that on an every hour basis, do restores in your mailbox, and make it fully searchable. While we haven't set any particular pricing on this, we're aiming to be really disruptive. We think that this is a really competitive area, and we want to make sure that you are able to be as competitive as possible in any scenario, and we're really thinking that this is going to be competitive pricing. Additionally, we know that the information that you get from the tool is really important to be able to look at the way it's reported and the way that you're able to manage that. And so we're making sure that all of the reportings and settings are available within the centralized console. We're actually going to make sure that you can do everything from that perspective, and we're looking at much more efficient investments in both reporting and management. We're going to make also some much more detailed reports available within the console, and so that you'll be able to be able to manage that on an ongoing basis. Additionally, we know that there has been some synchronization problems between some various versions of the product. And whether you're looking at the integrated versions or the standalone versions, whether or not you've integrated it with your RM or N-central platforms, or you're using the standalone, sometimes the behavior and the feature set is not always in perfect alignment. We're really looking to make sure that it is, as part of this year's investments, we're getting to a single product and where we're actually releasing fully at the same time, so that we'll be able to make sure that all versions of the product are identical. You've got that same behavior functionality across no matter what, and that the release cycles are all in sync, so that you're getting it all at the same time. We're doing additional investments in Linux and OS X for RM and N-central, so that we'll be able to be able to deploy on those platforms as well. So it's really going to be a big breakout year for backup in terms of lots of new functionality, really moving in terms of much faster, the ability to do new features like backup, get better information, and solve that synchronization problem, so that we'll have things coming out all at the same time. If you want to go ahead and move to the next slide. If Greg jumps on, we'll give him the opportunity to fill in any gaps I may have missed. Oh, I think Greg is driving our slides. So at this point, I'm going to take a couple of the questions that I've been answering on times. We're actually looking at people have been asking about lots of integrations. We understand that integrations is a core component of the way that we operate here as SolarWinds MSP. We do look at lots of different ways of doing integrations, and I'm really encourage everyone to use the ideas.solarwindsmsp.com site to give us specific integration scenarios that you're looking for. If there are integrations that you're interested in, we really do want to hear that feedback so that we can actually start prioritizing what we're working on. And additionally, if you have other scenarios in the products that are very specific, again, I'm going to encourage you to use that ideas.solarwindsmsp.com site so that you can additionally give us that critical feedback, and we can continue to work on that. Somebody's asking, where'd Greg go? Greg goes. Greg's having a little bit of technical problems, and I'm going to fill in for him. Regrettably, he's actually driving. Tracy, if you want to go ahead and pull up on your screen, you're probably set up more than me, and you can go ahead and pull up the slides, and we'll work together on this one. I'm going to also pluck out while he's doing that with the GDPR. We're actually we have our GDPR center available right now. If you've got GDPR questions, go ahead and pull that up on our website. I'll make sure that your rep gets you that, and we can continue to work on that. We are working to be GDPR ready by the deadline. So we will make sure that we'll be well positioned about that. And actually, if you want to jump back to a couple of slides there for me, Tracy, I think it was 3 slides on the GDPR. There we go. So we're well on track in terms of where we're supposed to be. We're making specific investments and validating our investment, and we'll make sure that all that documentation is available to our customers. And for those specific requirements, reach out to your reps, and we can work individually to make sure that you've got everything that you need over the course of the time. So let's go ahead and jump forward, and I will do my best to pick up for Greg. The good news is, while I am not personally in charge of that, I work very, very closely with Greg and the team, so I can do a pretty good job of filling in on this. So as we move from backup to the MailAssure product, one of the things that we're looking first is that we're making sure that we can actually move from one product to another. Obviously, many of you have invested in our MaxMail product, and we want to make sure that we've got a clear path for migration to be able to move from one product to another. So that's the first thing that we've been working on. So that you can actually move very efficiently from one, and making sure that we've covered all the necessary features from MaxMail and MailAssure so that they're too well in alignment. We're adding LDAP mailbox sync to the MailAssure product, so you'll be able to do that. We'll be able to additionally do archive only of the journal address, limits on the IP delivery space, and we're moving to add that 3 times a day daily report, so that we'll actually be able to be fully in sync with the Max Mail product. We're then going to move on to additional investments in reporting. We're going to make sure that we can do a really great job of custom data filters, be able to allow you to customize the time and frequency. I think that noise was Greg joining in. Was that you, Greg? There we go.
Dave, sorry about that.
Well, that's okay. It's a good thing we worked together so closely on this. So I did. You can jump back. I went over over the backup product for everybody, so that I went through our move towards synchronizing the products together and making sure that we're in full reporting alignment. I'll make sure while you move forward on mail that we've covered all the backup questions, and I'll jump in if we didn't cover it. Okay.
Okay, great. Yeah, let me just get right ahead and click through to the area that I was at with Mail Assure. Okay. So, Dave, did you cover some of the Mail Assure stuff?
I had just started talking. I walked through the fact that we're moving on investments in the migration process and bringing feature alignment. So that's right where I'd left it.
All right. Thank you very much for filling in there. Sorry for everybody for the technical difficulty there. So one of the other things that we want to do around mail is really staying in control of email flows. And so having multi-level reporting, custom data filters, and able to have this custom time and frequency. So this is things around like having multi-access methods for quarantine, reporting on accepted emails, queues, and et cetera. An automatic activation and cancellation of subscriptions. So again, some of these things around automated tasks, efficiency of use, and better reporting. We recognize also that some of the key areas that you need from us is the ability to report on the managed services that you're providing to your end customer. And so in that case, you'll see that reporting is another theme throughout the different areas of the roadmap. Greater operational efficiency is another area of focus for the back half of the year, centrally controlling and customizing settings, having the ability to automatically have inheritance and updates. And so these things around providing that level of operational efficiency are also an area of focus for us. And then, we talked about Office 365 in the context of backup and the backup tool, but also with regards to that's not exclusive to that one offering. In Mail Assure, we're looking to create an Office 365 add-on and auditing. So full self-auditing of logs, clear visibility on email flows and status, and really focused on a seamless experience, right? Where you have a single sign-on, one click to access the web interface, and really providing a layer of protection and control. So we recognize that that certainly tools like Office 365 and other cloud services provide some basic tools, but oftentimes that's not enough. And so we're endeavoring to provide kind of layered protection and control across a number of these different areas. Okay, let's transition and talk a little bit about both RMM and Central, and let me start with RMM. So as I mentioned near the beginning of the webinar, one of the areas that I'm very excited about and very passionate about is looking for opportunities where we can leverage SolarWinds technology and bring that technology to our MSP customers. And NetPath is really a good example of that, and the beginning of a pattern that you'll see that where we are looking for opportunities where we can leverage this intellectual property and making that a differentiator, for our offering. So NetPath spots slowdowns on your client's network. It really allows you to easily identify bottlenecks that might affect who's trying to access a cloud service. One of the cool things about this is the visual representation of how data flows through the network is really a cool user interface, and it's also is able to analyze the degradation of traffic by measuring performance on each of the network nodes. So you can actually go in and set sort of parameters on a specific node and say, hey, I want to see an alert, or I want to create some sort of flag when this node exceeds a certain threshold in terms of speed, and then this allows you to really monitor that connectivity from your customers' users to their most important cloud services. So this is in the context of RMM. We're also adding this into N-central. For RMM, this will be available. We're targeting the availability of this for the first quarter, so really coming up in the next 6 weeks or so. And then for N-central, it will be later, probably down the road around Q2 in the summertime. I mentioned earlier about doing the basics well, and one example of this is patch enhancements. We recognize that this is a very common activity for MSPs. We're adding some things around vulnerability scan updates. We're simplifying patch setup. We're streamlining the RMM policy management and workflow, and as I mentioned, enhancing our vulnerability scanning. So doing the basics well and making sure that things that you are using frequently are top-notch is another area of focus. It's less about maybe expansion in this particular example and more about making you more efficient, making sure that we're enhancing the areas of high use. And that's another theme I'll pause on for a second. I talked about creating a unified experience, a common look and feel across our offerings. One of the other areas or guiding principles that I'm leading with on the team is really about how can we ensure that we are driving high active use and that we're paying attention to where our customers are heavily using our offerings and focusing our R&D efforts on making sure that those areas of high use are top notch. Now, as I mentioned, I started here last summer, and I understand that we have probably overpromised and underdelivered on our support for Mac. So I don't want to overemphasize this, but I am excited that we are on track, and I have a whole slide at the very end of the presentation that's going to talk a little bit about what we're doing with regards to Mac, and so that's an area of focus, and I'll get into that in a little bit more detail. But backup is one of the first things that we're going to be adding. Greater oversight and operational efficiency through command and control is another key area. Enriching an enriched centralized oversight of the dashboard, improving management efficiency, and some UI enhancements. So these are some of the things that we're going to be adding. One of the interesting use cases that I heard about at a customer roundtable in December, when I was actually out in the Netherlands, was about getting more data at a glance and also exporting to CSV. It's an interesting use case. I hadn't really thought about it, but it's an area that some of our customers have said, hey, just give us the large bulk of data, get into a CSV file so we can play around with it however we want. So that's definitely an area that we're looking to expand and to add on. And then finally, I talked earlier about automation, and one of the areas that we're going to be focused on in the back half of the year is automating workflow and improving the proficiency or efficiency of technicians. So we recognize that one of the key areas for your profitability is how well and how efficient your techs can be, and that allows you to do a couple things. It allows you to either expand into new managed services or that are maybe higher value add or higher profitability for you, or it allows you to grow new customers, right? Acquire new customers, so that your technicians can do more and more in less time. And so things like managing multiple service level offerings for new and existing clients, custom properties, rules, and monitoring templates, and prioritizing policy management to control devices that match multiple criteria. These are some areas of focus that we have in terms of making sure that our automation and our overall rules and monitoring templates are that much more enhanced to make you more efficient, to make your techs more efficient, and ultimately to make you more profitable. So N-central, we'll talk a little bit about N-central. I mean, one of the key areas that we recognize is we do have a PSA offering. It's called MSP Manager. I'm going to go over some roadmap items for that in just a minute. But we also integrate with other PSA tools. And one of the things that we're focused on is understanding that you do use other PSA tools and totally appreciate and understand that. We want to make sure that you're spending less and less time context switching between N-central and your PSA and more time helping your customers. So we're adding things around the ability to take ownership of tickets and change properties, change ticket priority, view notes in the ticket, etc. So intuitive and efficient ticketing capabilities is a theme that we're very focused on here in the first half of the year. I talked already about patch and AV enhancements in the context of RMM. It's also something that we're doing in N-central. This is really about, reducing the noise in the active issues view, right? So what can we add so that you'll have fewer unnecessary tickets to send to your PSA system. The fewer these unnecessary tickets, the less noise in the system, the more efficient you'll be, the better that we're doing the basics well. And so this also capability that we're adding here is that AV scans and other scheduled tasks can now run even when the original time was missed. So again, common theme here, doing the basics well, focusing on reducing noise in the system, making you more efficient, making your techs more efficient. Talked about NetPath, so the same benefits that we discussed in the context of RMM will also be available on N-central, and that's something we're targeting for the middle of the year. SSO, enhancing our SSO, making sure that we have ease of login and enhanced security, seamlessly logging into N-central using G Suite or Azure AD account. Those are really our first priority is Google G Suite and then Azure AD. And then also the ability to merge existing N-central accounts with SSO accounts is another area that we're focused on here. And then the assignment of roles and access groups to SSO accounts, making that easier to do within the context of N-central. So again, this is part of this is recognizing the proliferation of cloud services as one of the market trends that we're seeing, and also making that single sign-on experience even that much better. And then finally, workflow enhancements. This again is a common theme. It should look fairly similar to what we talked about with RMM, about looking at common patterns and views that you can easily troubleshoot the same item in the future. So the ability to actually save these views, and that way you're that much more efficient. So you see the same pattern of come up again, and you can say, okay, well, I've saved that view so I can easily troubleshoot and remediate that issue in the same way. And then updated custom properties will enhance the ability for automated workflows. And then the other area is linking to BI and API enhancements for BI reporting. Again, we recognize that there are some BI tools that you might use and find very useful. And one of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing is making the API enhancements we need that you can surface that data in a BI reporting tool, and the ability to link N-central to that. So some of these things around custom properties and all device views are very important. But I also want to emphasize that we recognize that you have a number of different tools best of breed tools that you use. We want to make it easy for you to use SolarWinds MSP technology and in conjunction with those other tools. And that's an example there on the API enhancements for BI. Okay, we're on the rounding the stretch and headed for home. I'll talk a little bit about our remote access technology, MSP Anywhere. So one of the things here that we're looking to improve upon is this overall new look, this refreshed look and feel for the administrative area, the admin console. And that's a big push that the team is working on right now, and it's something that we will be releasing in the early part of this year. We're introducing a couple of things that are new, like remote print, file copy and paste, and remote registry. And then we also have a mobile app here for techs on the go, push notifications, session recording and reporting. It's a lot of things that we're doing on the administrative area here for MSP Anywhere. The other key area of enhancement here around MSP Anywhere is the viewer. So we want to make it easier to find user interface controls. And we also want this to be something that's platform agnostic for the tech. So you'll see later on, we're talking about the theme here is to be able to give support to any platform from any platform. So this secure remote access from Linux, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS is really a key area of focus. We also, I mentioned copy and paste. We're advancing that. We're improving the UX on file transfer and enhancing user telemetry. Single sign-on, again, this is a theme, again, that you've seen through a couple of the different product areas, but integrating this into SolarWinds MSP and making sure that the transition between RMM and attended support is very smooth, right? So we want to have that seamless access to RMM and the admin console so that the technicians can easily navigate between SolarWinds MSP products and to have the ability to reset password one time for all. We are launching a new Linux agent and creating support for all modern Linux operating systems. This is really going to be something that's identical in functionality to the Windows agent, and really providing, as I mentioned before, the ability to give support to any platform from any platform. And then one of the areas that we are looking to differentiate on with regards to remote access is the ability to detect end user activity, right? So if you're in the process of remediating an issue on a machine, but the end user comes in, we want to be able to detect when that happens so it doesn't interfere with what they're trying to do on their machine at the time. And some of the other associated features with that, things like end user notification, the ability to do bidirectional chat, and the introduction of switching sides are a few of the other areas around MSP Anywhere. So this is a part of the portfolio that I would say has been kind of sleepy, and we are reinvigorating this tool. We believe really strongly in this tool, and we see a lot of opportunity for increasing this to be highly competitive in the marketplace and a really great solution for you to take a look at if you haven't in recent time. A lot of emphasis, a lot of focus going on here with MSP Anywhere, and we will be packaging a number of these capabilities up and doing a little bit of a market push around MSP Anywhere over the next few months. And so kind of in the May-June timeframe, please be on the lookout for kind of a relaunch of MSP Anywhere. Okay, really excited about some of the changes that we've made with MSP Manager. So you may have noticed that last year in the kind of the September timeframe, we launched MSP Manager 3.0, and we're continuing to innovate in this area with a new user interface, new look and feel, improving the performance, and localizing this into 8 languages. So we'll be localized in English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Dutch, and Swedish. We're adding some of the navigation tools in the top bar paradigm to align with the common product suite so that it has that common look and feel. And we do recognize that you may use a number of different PSA tools, and absolutely part of our strategy is to continue to integrate with other PSA tools. But we also are proud of the work that we're doing here with MSP Manager. And another piece of MSP Manager that I want to highlight is the mobile app. We have a really solid team of mobile developers that are working on this application, and it's a slick mobile user interface. So if you haven't checked this out recently, definitely take it for a test drive and see what you think about the new user interface, especially the importance of the mobile app. So another thing that we're investing on and going forward on the roadmap for MSP Manager is really the standardization of routine tasks, right? So how do we simplify common tickets with standardized task lists, working with a to-do list in your tickets? Yeah, I like this question. Do you ever find yourself writing the same steps for a ticket over and over? Yes. Well, we're going to introduce task templates to allow you to document and standardize these processes that are repeatable. It's again, another part of the theme about making you more efficient, giving you more time, allowing you to be more profitable and to expand your business with that time. So the tasks and templates is an area of focus here for MSP Manager. The ability to route tickets based on flexible workflow rules is another key area. So as we talked about reducing noise in End Central, we also are reducing noise here and trying to focus on what matters the most. And so the idea here is that we're going to provide some workflow routing technology and capabilities that allows you to spend less time triaging tickets and adding that ability to automatically route these tickets based on important factors and using rules in the workflow that you set. And so basically this type of automation and reduction of noise will allow also to automatically close tickets that don't need your attention. So you know, this workflow routing is a key area that we're investing in for MSP Manager. The unlocking the power of your data is another key thing. So we're going to be investing in data visualization and reporting that basically gives you this flexible ability to unlock the power of the data. So examples of this would include things like building views for each task or role in your organization, dragging and dropping customizable views, creating a much more interactive dashboard, and then increasingly providing flexible data export and reporting options. As I mentioned, earlier, and I'll mention it again, we hear you loud and clear about the importance of reporting. You probably have seen this as a theme that's going across the different product lines, and recognize that we know that as a managed service provider, you've got to report to your end customer what you're doing, what value you're providing. And so we hear you loud and clear, and we're working across the portfolio to improve our reporting capabilities. And finally, knowledge improvements is another area in the back half of the year. Basically knowing what to do and how to do it, meaning integrating this into key workflows and processes, making sure that we're providing external visibility of relevant data in the end user portal, and enhancing the overall permission model, making sure that we're allowing more granularity in the permissions for MSP Manager. So again, if you haven't checked out MSP Manager recently, take a look. We're really proud of the innovation that we're driving there. And finally, the Mac roadmap. I wasn't actually going to highlight this, but I'm actually pretty excited about it, and I know that it's a situation where probably in the past we've overpromised and underdelivered, but I'm here to tell you we are on track. We're starting with automated tasks, and that automated task is sort of the backbone to allow us to maintain allow us to provide the capability for you to maintain Macs the same way as Windows. So we're creating these automated tasks in the RMM dashboard, just like you do today with Windows. We are the existing Mac MSP tasks are migrating to the RMM dashboard so that you no longer have to leave the dashboard to do this. It's just a single pane of glass experience. We're adding the ability to deploy and run Mac specific scripts within RMM. So that's the thing that we've been talking about for a while. We're doing it. We're on track to deliver that in the early part of this year. Now, based on that foundational element of the automated tasks, now that allows us to then layer in things like managed patch, integrated backup, and managed antivirus. So really moving and making Mac the first-class citizen that it should be, right? And different studies have shown that this is anywhere from maybe 6 to 10% of workstations inside SMBs are Macs. And so it's not a huge percentage, but oftentimes it can be very important to what your customers. And we're hearing loud and clear that that this is something that it's moving from kind of a nice to have to being more and more of an important necessity. And this roadmap here, I think, is very differentiated in the marketplace for in terms of our capabilities that we're adding from managed patch, integrated backup, and managed antivirus. And so you'll start to see this stuff coming out during the course of this year. We have a dedicated team. I have a dedicated product manager on this. I have a dedicated set of R&D resources that are working on this, and we're committed to delivering this technology. So again, notwithstanding, I know this has been something that we've talked about for a while, but I just wanted to bring it back full circle and say, hey, we're on track here to deliver this capability to you during the course of this year. Whew, okay, so with that and with a bit of a interruption, which I apologize for, it comes to the conclusion of the webinar. I want to conclude my remarks by just saying thank you. I want to thank you for coming today. I want to thank you for your business. We recognize that you run your business on our technology. We're firmly committed to your success. Your success is our success. We appreciate your feedback on what we can be doing better. I talked about ideas.solarwinds.com, ideas.solarwindsmsp.com, and I have a team of product managers that are focused on a lot of different granular areas. I did a very high level across the portfolio today, but rest assured that we want to thank you for your business. We're dedicated to your success, and we're going to be doing more of these type of roadmap presentations during the course of the year. So with that, Dave, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. I've been doing my best to answer everybody's questions. If we got any last ones, we'll make sure they get handled in the email. Greg, one of the questions, there was a bit of a theme of confusion when you were talking about Mac, and I thought I'd give you an opportunity to talk a little bit to it. You were talking about the Mac. The questions that I got several versions of this is, how much of this is RMM and how much of this applies to N-central?
The roadmap that I showed was particularly on RMM. But we're going to be doing the same type of expansion to N-central as well.
Okay, great. That was the major theme of that. We'll catch any last ones in the chat. Really appreciate everybody's time. Again, the session was recorded, and we'll make it available to everybody after the session. We really appreciate your time. Look forward to having continued interactions with us. You can find us online if you want to interact with us on Twitter or on Facebook, or join our LinkedIn group for continued conversations. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.